Innovation at the cost of innocence. Progress at the cost of peace. Science at the cost of sanity. The art of advancing technology at the cost of everything around you. All of this is the dogma of today's topic. He is the lord of technology within the warp and the arms dealer behind the vast great game that is the struggle for power between the four major chaos gods. He is Vashtorr the Archifane. Yeah, Metal Alistair is pretty fucking scary, huh? Disclaimer, before I get into this, I wanted to very quickly say that, as you can see by the length of this video, this is not a comprehensive, full guide to the topic. This is meant to be a base-level introduction to hopefully get you interested enough to look up the topic yourselves. Having said that, hey guys, and welcome to this new series, T-Girl Telepathica. A look at the lore and the world of Warhammer 40k, the world of constant war and sheer hopelessness. Everything is not fine, everything sucks, and everyone hates you. So basically, trans community simulator. In all seriousness though, the world of the 41st, maybe, millennium is made interesting by the sheer comical level of bad things are. You're hard-pressed to find a character that's not evil in some way, as the entire setting and the game surrounding it is basically a who's who of the greatest war crime dealers in the galaxy grappling to take over everything. With the Imperium, there's a deep complexity of seeing how horrible things are for the people living within the throes of the regime, and how bad things have become not out of necessity, but out of the sheer zealous ego the leadership has due to the threat of chaos. And today we'll be covering one character who's recently been one of the many driving factors behind the many multiplying gray hairs of Guilliman, the demon Vashtorr. Vashtorr the Archifane is probably my absolute favorite character in the entire Chaos faction. There are some who come very close, but he's got the cake for me. He's an extremely recent addition to the lore, having been added only 2 years ago in 2023, introduced in a series of books known as the Arks of Omen series on the ship of the main character of Chaos, the Chaos Space Marine leader of the Black Legion, Abaddon. He'll get his own video later. Vashtorr is a demon of chaos somewhere above the usual greater demon on the totem pole of power, but not by much at the moment. If I had to guess, he's somewhere slightly above the named greater demons individually under the four powers, such as Rodagus, Kairos, or Skarbrand. He's technically a minor chaos god himself, being the hellish embodiment of industry and the grinding march forward to greater heights of madness and technology. So basically, if the American industrial complex was a dude. He is the king ruling over a particular realm in the warp known as the Soul Forge, and as a result is the guy in charge of making all the funny toys for the other four chaos gods. He's the guy who develops the new explodey axes Khorne needs for his bloodthirsters to swing at the forces of Tzeentch, who then need warbly shields to defend against those guns and axes and cast spells safely. So as a result, Tzeentch also goes to Vashtorr to get those made. This dynamic is precisely why Vashtorr is both as powerful as he is, and why the four Chaos Gods don't just go run rampant on the Soul Forges and take them for themselves. Vashtorr got his position among the warp by making contracts with the gods, supplying them with their weapons and machines of war. Things such as soul grinders are made here. On top of this, the Soul Forges are where a lot of Chaos Space Marines get most of the machines you see them using, such as Helldrakes, Defilers, Forge Fiends, and Mauler Fiends. As you can tell, Vashtorr is extremely important, putting him into an extremely unique position among demons. On top of this unique position, Vashtorr is an extremely unique character among Chaos as well, because usually characters from Chaos have an allegiance to either one of the four Chaos Gods or all four of them at once. Most other demons you find are either literal extensions of the will of one of the four Chaos Gods, or have ascended to demonhood as a demon princes under one of the four Chaos Gods. Vashtorr is extremely different. He doesn't have allegiances or fealty. He takes the classic devil approach and has contracts. As said before, he's able to stay a master of his own due to his extremely important role in the great game. But just like with every other demon god, he gains power through worship. And worship to him is devotion to either twisting yourself to do more damage or creating more dark and twisted machines. Demons of all four other chaos gods can get caught up in helping him gain more power in this way through contracts. They go to him seeking more power in order to do their own respective god's bidding, all the better, wanting desperately to be honored champions. Usually, with any other demon, this would be where Vashtorr immediately weaves a dark contract that traps the lesser demon through lies and deceit, but this brings us to another thing which makes Vashtorr unique. He never lies. He always speaks plainly and never deceives anyone on what he wants from them or how hard it would be for them to complete it. If you make a contract with Vashtorr and are able to fulfill that contract, you get everything he told you would get. Cut and dry, fair indeed. However, lesser demons do still get caught up in serving the Soul Forges forever, not because Vashtorr tricked them, of course, but because they're demons and demons are masters of nah, I'd win. Thronglius the Filthy gassed themselves up into something they could not accomplish, despite Vashtorr's own honesty on how difficult he tells them it will be. Vashtorr may be a weird demon, but the demons who seek him out are not. That might sound, good, but remember that Vashtorr still lets them take these contracts anyway. Much like capitalism today, it's all about the money, Spider-Man. But as said before, that's not the only way for him to gain power. People obviously can give him power by sitting in a circle around a cogitator and going humana, 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 which at first makes the Adeptus Mechanicus' whole deal seem kind of dangerous, but remember, the whole organization is more about finding knowledge, not pushing the envelope. So that makes the person with the problem among them a certain giant mad scientist. Yeah, it's very possible Kahl is actively feeding Vashtorr. In fact, it's actually blatantly stated in a book. When Belisarius Kahl is having an ancient WMD off with the Necrons, and Vashtorr just pops out of the woodwork with his wormwood like, why, hello! So, we know what he is and how he gets his power. But what exactly is this guy's goal? He certainly has one given the fact that, as I said, he's been the main driving factor of the most recent overarching important plotline for Chaos as of late. Well, what do you think your classic minor god would want? Of course, to ascend to true godhood and stand as equals with the other 5 Chaos gods. Despite the fact that he does have an untested place in the warp, he's still able to be pushed around and strong-armed by the other gods. This is where he folds back into the rest of the demons of the warp. This want to rise further and further into strength is quite literally the driving factor behind why demons go to him in the first place after all. Of course, this particular want happens to irk some of the older fans because it's quite literally the same driving factor behind a certain other character in Chaos. But I honestly do think there's a difference here. Vashtorr actually has a chance to pull it off, unlike the other guy. He's only tangentially related to the other Chaos gods, and he already most certainly gets his own worship from the mortal realm, so he just needs that one little push to get to apotheosis. Currently, his plan to do this is to unlock some warbly-ribbly tech MacGuffin somewhere in the webway, so we've since left him story-wise at the turn where he's gone into that particular realm to go and find the vault said MacGuffin is locked in. The story of how that happened will also need to be its own video, so this is where we'll leave this one for now. Genuinely fresh take on the demonic character in the world of Warhammer for once. On top of being one of the coolest models you can currently field in 40k, his story is still being told. So I hope this video has given you the inspiration to follow this fable along. I highly recommend it as a starting point in all honesty, as the books involving him and his Arks of Omen have genuinely been some of the best writing to come out of the Black Library in forever. And that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and share this with a friend to send them to the Soul Forges for all eternity. Trust me, they yearn for the bellows. I hope you have a good day today. Tune in next time for more Warhammer content.